This weekend's the Oscars. Who's going to win? You want to bet? This website, the Hollywood Stock Exchange, allows people to bet on what will win. The website also allows people to bet on how much money a movie might make. It's like a futures market, except users bet with fake money. The promoters of the Hollywood Stock Exchange would have liked to have used real money, but the government said no. Why? What's wrong with them? Let's ask Rich Jaycobs. He's president of the Hollywood Stock Exchange. Why'd they say no?
Well, I think they were just concerned about bringing financial market transparency to an industry that hasn't had any transparency about finances.
All right, well, let's back up. How would it work? If you want to raise money to make a movie, people would bet on scripts and which one will do well?
Well, there are thousands and thousands of users out there who follow movies very closely, and they have an opinion on how well those films will do in the box office, and they'd like to put some of their money at work with those films.
And because it's a futures market, people would put their money where their mouths are. Knowledge would come out. Probably the better films, or the films more likely to succeed, would get funded.
Well, that's exactly right. And one of the concerns was that there would be movies where the financial markets would not view them positively. And would that perhaps interfere with the ability to market those films?
And so that was one reason that the politicians killed it, because some of the studios said, we don't want all this discussion of our plans out there.
That's exactly right. There was concern that any form of transparency in those box office results could result in a bad movie. Now, of course, no one is allowed to do this kind of investment.
The Dodd-Frank financial regulation bill killed this.
It was added as part of that bill.
And how would this have helped the film business?
Well, for small films, it would give an opportunity for those trying to produce those films and get distribution, theatrical distribution for those films into theaters by showing that the market thinks those films can make $10 or $20 million in theaters.
And it would start with, maybe they'd look at the idea, then the script, then a trailer.
Yeah, and
keep betting.
That's exactly right. The film increases in value. First it's a script, an idea, then an actor or a director signs on and the value goes up. And by the time the trailer comes out, there's a very good sense of the valuation of the property.
But the politicians said this would be used for speculation and gambling.
Well, the regulator, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, did a 3-year review and concluded that there was legitimate economic purpose behind this market.
So the important regulator, and they regulate the trading in cotton and copper and orange juice and all that, they said fine, it's just another futures market.
They said fine, and it wasn't a casual conclusion that they drew. They wrote a 28-page report that concluded at the end of 3 years of research.
But Dodd-Frank stepped in and said no. And now I hear that Chris Dodd might be the new head of the movie makers' lobbying group.
That's the news reports. I certainly have no insight into that.
Sounds awfully cozy and sleazy.
Well, we'd like to reapproach, Senator Dodd or anyone else who's in the movie industry and revisit the idea. We think there's a lot of merit to the idea, and the Dodd-Frank bill and this particular project got merged together. But perhaps with cooler heads prevailing, we can actually make something happen here.
Smarter and cooler heads. And the Hollywood Stock Exchange continues, but it's just fake money, so it's much less accurate because of that.
Yeah, it's still very accurate, but it certainly is not as accurate as it would be with the real money market. And it's had a 12-year history. I mean, the track record of the Hollywood Stock Exchange in forecasting how well a film will do at the box office has been extraordinary.
Thank you, Rich Jaycobs. Now, what will win the Oscars this Sunday? I don't trust his exchange because they can't bet real money, but there is an exchange where people can. Intrade.com. It's based in Ireland because dumb American laws won't let them operate here, but Americans do bet on Intrade, and when it comes to predicting things, nothing is more accurate. One study found Intrade has just half the margin of error of national polls. So before we go, what does Intrade predict for the Oscars?
The King's Speech is a big favorite to win Best Picture. Good. As a stutterer, I'm partial to stuttering movies.
Simple mechanics.
Fine.
The bettors are even more confident that Colin Firth, star of The King's Speech, will win Best Actor.
The exquisite Nina Sayers.
Best Actress, Natalie Portman's the favorite. And finally, Best Director, the favorite on Intrade is The Social Network's David Fincher.
You guys were the inventors of Facebook. You'd have invented Facebook.
Now, you may think the prediction market is wrong, but I dare you to bet against it. And when we return, how Hollywood might kill your child.
The ether, the aluminum, the antifreeze need to be removed immediately.